Am I the a-hole for not pretending to be the father of my friend's baby? I, 20 male, have a friend from uni, 21 female, who is pregnant. Her mother and sisters are throwing a gender reveal for her. Her mother and stepfather are basically demanding that the father of the baby attend. When she announced her pregnancy, her family were not happy. One of the stipulations that her stepfather had if he was to support her and the child financially was that the father had to be involved to some extent with expenses, etc. Nobody's forcing her to marry him or be in a relationship with him, as far as I'm aware, but her family does not want her to be a single parent. Unfortunately for her, the father was a Tinder date who blocked her and everything when she told him about the pregnancy. She really needs her stepfather and mother's continued financial support since she doesn't have a paid job. Her course requires her to do X amount of hours of industry experience, so between that and her research project, she does not have time. She has been lying for months and pretending to have semi-regular contact with the baby's father. Our friends are mostly girls with only 2 guys. The other guy has met her family before and her sister knows he is gay, but they have not met me. So my friend asked me to attend a gender reveal and say I was the baby's father. I was initially conflicted and said I'd think about it. She dropped it after that for a few days. After talking about it with a friend, I decided I really did not want to, because A, this does not sound like the sort of lie you tell once, and I don't know how long I'd have to keep being involved, and B, while we are from completely different ends of the country, with social media, I fear this could get to people in my hometown or my parents, which may believe I have actually gotten a woman pregnant, which I have not. I explained this to her the next time I saw her and she looked disappointed, but agreed it was up to me. However, for the past 3 weeks, most if not all of our friends, including one of my housemates, have been telling me how stressed out she is, that she guarantees it'll be a one-time thing, and that I have really let her down. We spoke about it again yesterday and she tried to reassure me that she wouldn't ask me again, and that she shall make sure no pictures of me are taken/posted, but I find that unlikely. She was almost crying, confessing she had no one else to ask and begging me to reconsider. I feel awful about it, but know I'll just be stressed about it getting out somehow. I've seen pictures of other people's baby showers and refuse to believe that the father of the child can be omitted from all photos. My friends think I'm overthinking and making a bad situation even worse for her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Are you insane? Stay the heck away from this girl and possibly the rest of your friend group. There is no way that this lie happens without ruining you in some way. Not the a-hole. Open your eyes and let this bullet whiz right by you. First, you'd be responsible for child support. No, no, no. If she's willing to lie and manipulate her own family, she will no doubt do the same to Opie somehow. Not the a-hole. She was irresponsible, got pregnant from a virtual stranger and decided to keep the baby. None of those actions are your fault. If she doesn't have the financial resources to have a baby, her solution shouldn't be to lie to her own family, so she could get their support and risk losing everything when her lie's uncovered. Don't get involved in that. They say it's a one-time thing. It clearly will not be. How does she plan to explain that the father is not there for the birth of the child? I think she was feeling that she didn't have any alternative but to lie. I feel bad for her, but I don't want to personally get involved. As for that, I have no idea how she plans to explain the father's continued absence for anything, including the birth. You covered points A and B. Permit me to cover point C. Loudly. C, they will try to put you on the hook for child support. Are you nuts? Say no, then block and run. Oh, and be ready for a DNA test when she names you anyway. Not the a-hole. I do fear that that is why the stepfather wants to meet with the father of the baby. My friend says no one will want to discuss something that serious at a party. But based on what I've heard about her stepfather, that is unlikely. No, that is exactly why they want to meet you. They want your name and information, so they can get you on the hook for child support. I guarantee this will not be a one-time thing and will turn into a dumpster fire like a bad sitcom. She's not thinking clearly because she's so desperate and is not thinking about the long-term consequence of naming you the father. But after he has your name, he could do lots of things to get you to take responsibility, like harass you, get an attorney involved, contact your family, and contact your employer. You also know your friend is too spineless to stand up for you, so it's just a trap. Next story. Am I the a-hole for revealing why I rejected a promposal nearly 10 years ago? I, 27 female, attended school in the UK. Toward the end of our final year of school when we turn 18, our schools organized something called a formal, which I suppose is a bit like a prom without the romantic aspects, as you're not expected to go with anybody. And the idea of promposals generally isn't something that's done here. Nearly 10 years ago, I was preparing to leave school. I found out that not only did a boy in my class have a massive crush on me for years, but he was planning one of these massive promposals that are often done at proms. He had always been a horrendous bully to me. He would go from calling me hideous and claiming that I would die alone and unloved, to stealing my friends' phones to get my number, or sneaking up behind me and cutting out strands of my hair to keep, or going as far as to find my house through my father's distinctive car. Naturally, when the day for his promposal came along, he came out with a sign in front of the entire school, and I bluntly said no and walked away. I don't like confrontation or argument, but I had no intention of sparing his feelings after all he had done. But I was honestly just uncomfortable and wanted to leave. He badgered me until the day I left school for turning him down and being heartless. His friends did the same, but I didn't care. I recently met one of his old friends in my old town. I went to the business where one of them was working, and he kept bringing this up, saying that my bully had gotten depressed after we left school and hadn't dated at all because he was embarrassed from the rejection and was still hung up over me. He kept asking me why I felt it was okay to reject him like that over some nasty words, and if I was really that petty. I got sick of it, so I told him. Turns out that because all of these creepy things had happened within the classroom, he hadn't seen them, nor even heard of them happening. His friends and my other bullies within the class were covering for him. The friend abruptly left without a word, but apparently the gossip did rounds. Now the friend group is divided in two. Many of those who didn't know are angry with him for lying, and angry that their other friends hid what was happening, as they think it went too far. The others are angry with me for airing his dirty laundry. His parents apparently also know now, and they're angry that he had their sympathy through lies, and now know that he practically stalked me. Which brings up questions about whether they want him to take over the small farm versus a younger brother. I wonder if I should have just let his friend be mad at me. I'd probably have never seen him again anyway. I didn't know that he would tell anyone, as he'd never been one for gossip that I knew of. But I also didn't expect this to potentially ruin the life of someone I haven't seen for nearly a decade. Am I the a-hole for telling his friend the truth about what happened? The others are angry with me for airing his dirty laundry. Oh well, let them be. You didn't dirty the laundry. You're just refusing to whitewash it. Dude was a stalker and a bully. Now everyone knows the truth. Not the a-hole. Plus, it is not like Opie was a bystander gossiping about why so-and-so rejected bully dude a decade ago. Opie was talking about what her bully had been doing to her for several years. She was talking about her own life. It is not her fault that talking about a deeply unpleasant period of her own life paints a bad picture of him. Victims are far too often tasked with sparing a bully's feelings, when those same people didn't at any point think the victim's feeling mattered. Looks like you forgot to block some a-holes. You should see to that. Not a-hole. Were you expected to lie for someone who made your life hell for years? How could possibly have known that everyone would find out, and even if you did, that changes nothing. He chose to do what he did all those years ago, and now is getting found out for being a creep and a bully and lying to all his friends. And that's somehow your fault? I don't think so. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my friends/roommates to use my laptop? 6 of us, me, boyfriend, and 4 other friends, are renting out a unit together so we can be closer to all the good summer jobs in a touristy town. The property has a TV that isn't a smart TV. It only works if something is connected to the HDMI cable. We have been using my laptop to watch movies/YouTube/shows together this way all week. I just started training at my summer job, and they are demanding to know my laptop password so they can keep watching movies while I'm at work. I've tried to explain that I have very personal things on my laptop. Discord and Messenger auto-start and have notifications, and I'm logged into all my accounts in my browser. They're extremely offended by this and say that I don't trust them and think they will snoop or go through my stuff or read my messages. I don't think they would intentionally snoop. I just don't want them accidentally seeing anything personal without me in the room. Now, everyone is mad at me because they can't use the TV if I'm at work. I've told them to just get a Chromecast or something, and they're acting like now they have to buy it. Since I'm an a-hole, I don't trust them. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. How is it possible that only 1 of 6 young adults in an apartment has a laptop? I don't know where you are, but I just looked on Best Buy and they've got a 24-inch smart TV for $70. Surely the people who want a smart TV can come up with that money and leave your private laptop alone. We don't live in this area. We came here for 3 months because it's a beach town and the businesses hire extra help like crazy around this time. And the vacation goers tip really well. I'm the only one that brought a laptop. The others only brought their phones. I suggested ordering a Chromecast and they're still mad that they would have to get something else that isn't the laptop I already brought. Not the a-hole. They need to get their own laptop. I access my banking and credit card accounts through my laptop. No is no. Not the a-hole. You don't want something to pop up. That's none of their business. They can get their own TV doohickey. Not the a-hole. That's a weird demand from people who don't own a laptop. Even if there wasn't personal information you're worried about, it doesn't belong to them. If you wanted, you could make a guest login on your computer for them to use, but I personally don't let out my electronics because of the risk of damage. While they may not drop it, they could misuse the battery, like charging incorrectly. The oils on fingers degrade the paint on keys, general dust, food crumbs, how hard they're hitting keys can make them stick. Just know, Roku is cheap unless you cast from your phone, so they can easily do that between 4 to 5 of them. It's absurd they're so upset about this. Also, they have streaming on their phones. Though a guest account does take away the security issue, are they willing to assume responsibility if something happens to the laptop? If they're so upset about getting a $30 Roku dongle, imagine how much more hassle it will be if the laptop is damaged. Besides, what happens when everyone wants to watch TV but OP needs to use the laptop? Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my brother-in-law a failure after he compared me to my sister? I, 30 female, have a stepsister, Chloe, 32 female, who is married to Joe, 34 male. They have a son, Liam, 4, and my husband and I have a daughter, Ava, 3. Joe, Chloe, Liam, and our parents, her dad and my mom, came to visit my husband and me at our home abroad last week, as there's lots of events going on here and good weather. We all had a good time, but it was obvious Joe and Chloe were having some issues, both with Liam and each other. Nothing serious, just tension and a few snide remarks about Liam's behavior and Chloe's appearance from Joe. Over the weekend, we all went out to have lunch and then watch a local event with the intention of attending a party afterwards. It was a long day with 3 distinct parts to it, so I had to change clothes. I changed before lunch, and when I came down to lunch, Joe said I looked nice. I said thanks, thinking that would be the end of it, but he launched into a whole rant, at a table with everyone there, about how he wished Chloe would make more of an effort with her appearance, how she still had baby weight, never thought about how she looked or how he felt being out with her, and how since I managed to keep myself together while having a husband who is never around, it obviously can be done. I was incensed. This greasy gnome had insulted 3 out of the 5 of the adults, in front of our parents and the kids. So I told Joe I married a husband and a father, not an extra child, and he provides support, not excuses. If I was a single parent with a 9-to-5 and you to come home to, it wouldn't look like this. That is a reflection of your failures, not Chloe's. Joe grumbled that he was only making a point, but my stepdad said that everyone needed to calm down and we should just get on with our meal, which we did. Joe stayed away from pretty much everyone for the rest of the afternoon, while Chloe sat with us but was sullen and withdrawn. When I tried to talk to her about what happened, she blew up at me saying I insulted her and Joe's situation with the way I spoke to him. I said I never intended to embarrass her unlike her husband, and that Joe had insulted me too, by turning me into some archaic fantasy. Chloe was still angry and said I had proven his point, and made it worse by making her look like she was married to an idiot, and I should have just brushed it off. I gave up trying to talk to her, and the rest of the trip was awkward between us. My parents say I'm not the a-hole, but my husband says I sort of was. He absolutely supports everything I said, but agrees with Chloe that by defending myself, Chloe became collateral damage. I don't think I'm in the wrong, because what Joe said was weird and demeaning, and it did involve me. It's not like I gave some unsolicited or untrue response. That said, some of my friends also think I should have just let it go since I wasn't the most insulted party. Not the a-hole. You didn't make her look like she married an idiot. She married an idiot. Came to say exactly this. Chloe isn't mad at you. She's mad that she can't keep hiding her giant waste of space husband. And she's mad at herself for not doing anything about it. Yes, Chloe has no power in her relationship with idiot child boy, so she can only be mad at her sister. This is such sexist BS. Brother-in-law's the a-hole, and your husband needs to get in line. You know this already, but not the a-hole. Your brother-in-law is a huge a-hole. But it sounds like your sister and her husband are having more than some issues if he uses you to hurt her. Maybe her sister needs someone to be there for her. Going by her response, that clearly isn't what she wants. OP should leave her to her own devices. On the contrary, this is very common to abused people. They lash out their anger and frustration at safe targets because they can't at the cost of their anger. It's not on purpose. It's a psychological defense mechanism. She needs support and therapy, not getting more isolated from anyone who can help her even if she's lashing out.